Hello everybody, this is HD Shaves here. I'm back with the video. Hope this finds you well and in good spirits. So I apologize for the lack of a video last week. It was a combination of being busy, and also I was practicing, in a sense, with this razor. So this is a Yankee Cutlery straight razor. It is about a 5/8, and it looks to me like it's a half hollow. I don't know exactly when this razor was made, but my sources say it's probably in the first part, like the first half of the 1900s. Has these interesting bamboo kind of scales, and I want to thank my friend very much, if he's watching, who restored this razor and honed it, put on a JNat edge and sent it to me. And this is my first straight razor I've ever used. I've been slowly getting better with this thing, but I must say that besides the stropping aspect, it really wasn't that difficult to jump right into after using, you know, the Feather Artist Club razors and the WEC and things like that previously. In some ways, this is a more comfy way of shaving with an open blade, but we'll get into that in a bit. As you might know, the lather games are going on the R Wet Shaving subreddit, and today's theme is lovingly known as Freeze Your Face Off Friday. So for that, you're supposed to use a lather that has cooling, whether it's menthol or some sort of synthetic cooling. So I'll be using Noble Otter Orbit, and I also will be using the matching splash. I normally don't pair these two together. I usually use them separate so I don't get too much cooling, but in honor of the lather games today, I figured why not. Let's go ahead and put both together. This has notes of eucalyptus, bergamot, rose, sandalwood, vetiver, cedarwood, and frozen space. This scent has really grown on me. At first, I found it a little bit cloying, I think, maybe because of the rose and the bergamot and the eucalyptus. It is certainly bright, but I think there's enough of the cedarwood and the vetiver to kind of balance it out, and so I do really enjoy this scent nowadays. So we'll be using the Dogwood Handcrafts custom handle with a Maggard Timberwolf knot, and I'm just going to wet the brush through, and then let's go ahead and start lathering. So this is the previous version of the soap, I believe. This was gifted to me years ago by a friend, and if that friend is watching, thank you very much for giving this to me. And I also have found that I tend to enjoy synthetic cooling in soaps and aftershaves more than the traditional menthol. There's just something about the smell of menthol that is not pleasing to me in most contexts, and so that's kind of the benefit of the synthetic cooling, is that you know, it doesn't necessarily have a scent that can be overpowering like menthol could be. So let's start with about that much on the brush. We'll get some warm water on the face, and as usual, I'm going to try to make sure we get the best lather possible for a kind of scary razor shave. We'll be shaving off 2 days growth here as usual, and I find usually with this soap that the cooling takes a little bit of time to work in, and that's just fine. It gives you sort of a chance to get used to it, whereas usually with the menthol it kind of can be a little bit shocking upon first application, let's say. Wearing the original Wolfman polo shirt, the one that started it all, I might say. I do really like that blue one. That's a little bit different fabric that's maybe more suited for golfing or similar sporting activities, but it's nice to go back to the gray also. just to remember where everything came from. Never had big problems working with Noble Otter Space, the V2 or the V3. I never used the original Noble Otter base that when they were using the old packaging still as well. And from what I understand, it was a big step up in quality from the first one to the second iteration of the soap. But then I think most of us feel that V2 was pretty good. And so while V3 maybe has some marginal improvements, it's not as significant of a rise in quality compared to 1 and 2. So just wanted to mention that. I'm going to keep face lather and I bring it back in when I'm about to start my first pass with the Yankee cutlery razor. Okay, we're back and I'm happy with this first pass lather result. It's translucent in most spots and could just feel the brush working through it quite easily. So I've got the razor warmed up here and let's just go on our first pass. So my first ever shave with this razor felt a bit tuggy, and my friend who honed up this razor for me let me know that that's probably because I didn't spend enough time on the strop, which is true. And so now what I do is I do about 30 laps on the fabric side. And then I switch and do 30 on the leather. My friend very kindly gifted me a 3-inch strop also. I believe it's Mountain, something is the brand, Mountain Mike, is that right? I'm not sure. But yeah, the 3-inch diameter would seem to be good. I can't imagine stropping on an area more narrow than that. But so far as I kind of expected, the shaves have been okay. You know, not great, not terrible. It's been interesting to try out, you know, different angles. And as usual, just trying to think about just removing the lather, not trying to worry about the, you know, cutting sensation as much. Switching to the left now. The sound is certainly pretty satisfying. And my friend sent me this razor as sort of a way to start because I purchased a Ralph Alst 6/8 razor, and he said, you know, let me send you something like this so you can practice stropping and also just just, you know, shaving with a straight before you jump in and use the oust. I think starting with that razor would have been fine, honestly, but it's kind of him to send me something a little bit more beginner friendly, I guess. It's slightly smaller, and well, I don't have as much to risk if I mess up this razor in some way. And so to sort of quantify how much I enjoyed this razor, I nicked my lip here this week, but it was not shaving with this razor. That other razor will remain nameless, and I absolutely do not like using that one. So I enjoy using this one more than the other one, which is a safety razor. So for whatever that's worth. Got a little weeper right here, but first pass felt okay. I'll rinse, and then we're just going to do 2 passes today. So we'll figure out which direction we're going to go in just a second. So be right back. Here's the second pass with the Timberwolf Knot and Noble Otter Orbit. Okay, let's do our second and final pass with the Yankee Cutlery razor. We'll try to do, how are we going to do this? I guess let's do, we'll go on the neck first. So, right hand, left side. Just trying to keep a light touch, of course. Let's rinse this. And then now we'll do left hand, right side. Need to be a little more flat here. I'll take this moment as I'm precariously shaving my jaw to thank all the people who have been supportive of me trying out the straight razor thing. I feel like the straight razor community is one of those where they know that there aren't too many people who want to, you know, shave that way or do something that sort of way, and so they really latch on to people. They're like, yeah, try it out, it'll be great. But I definitely have a lot of respect for the people who shave this way. It's not easy, but it also does kind of feel the most authentic, traditional way of doing this. It's just a blade that you strap yourself, and then that's all you need. There's no loading a blade like in a safety razor or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. We're going to try to do this way. I haven't quite figured out the directions. But I like to go, especially on the second pass. I'd kind of worked out a system when I was using the Feather DX razor and also the WEC, what I would do in the second pass, but it feels a little different with this straight razor, and so take me some time to figure that out, I think. And now I'm gonna do my favorite thing, which is going south to north on this area. Something that Matt, the guy on the West Coast Shaving channel who uses almost exclusively straight razors, mentioned a good tip is when you're going on this area, you know, obviously pull your lip down a little bit to stretch, but then also you can lean your head in to kind of get a little bit more tension. You know, if you keep your head or go back or something, it's not going to work, but if you go forward, that can be nice. Here, what he recommends is you try to keep this part of your lip pretty loose, but then you pull down on your chin. This is an area that I have struggled with all kinds of razors. So let's try his method today. So I'm going to pull down and then keep the this part not as tense. Might need more practice with that one. Let's just go down just to be. Good, we'll call it right there. So, certainly not the best shave of my life, but far from the worst, you know? I've been happily surprised with the straight razor as I've gotten into it, and yeah, I'm totally content with everything that happened. So I'm going to do my final rinse and come back and talk to you over post-shave. Stay tuned. Okay, so I did my usual cool water rinse, which these days is as cool as it'll go on the tap, and then let's use the matching Orbit splash. I think the Noble Otter Aftershave Base is one of the absolute best out there, and I always forget in the warmer months that I should be, you know, reaching for this formula as often as possible. It just really leaves the skin feeling nice. It does contain alcohol, but it's pretty soothing overall. And yeah, I hope to use the Noble Otter splashes quite a bit during the summer months. Alcohol, witch hazel, carrot extract, of course there's chamomile, white willow, and then the synthetic cooling in this, which I can feel starting to kick up a little bit. So that's the Orbit Aftershave Splash. And let's just do a quick recap. So the splash, we used the soap, of course. It should be available for sale soon if it's a seasonal. You know, I feel like I should look this up. If it's a, you know, if it's a summer seasonal from them, then it should be up for sale soon. If it's year-round, then it's already up there, right? Here's the Dogwood Maggard Timberwolf knot. And then finally, we used the Yankee Cutlery. Again, I think it's about a 5/8 half hollow razor. And yeah, I think that went pretty well. Pretty close shave for only doing 2 passes, and I could definitely see potential for getting, you know, a very close shave with only doing 2 passes with a straight razor if you know what you're doing. And that sort of seems to be what a lot of people do, at least here on YouTube. Is if they're doing a straight razor shave, they'll just do 2 passes, whereas normally we do 3 with everything else. So hopefully the next video I'll be using the other razor, the Ralph Aust, and then I can kind of say that I've tried both of the straight razors in my possession, and then I can decide what to do after that. So again, thanks very much to all the people who have been very supportive of me trying this whole straight razor thing, And of course, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. But for now, this has been HD Shaves. Take care, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.